everybody, it's Chris Eason, online is Wootini here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week I went to the movies and I saw 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I did not like it that much. Basically, if you might recall, when 28 years later came out, the first half is exciting. The second half, then the midsection, a character does something that, to drive the plot, does something stupid that you wouldn't do to drive the plot. And at first, I was like irritated, and I was like, this movie is terrible, all of a sudden. But then I understood what it was doing, and it needed to happen to set up the ending, and I was like, okay. And it had this very lovely, solemn, morose ending that I rather enjoyed. And I was like, oh, I see where you were going with this. Fine. I will accept the plot-driven nonsense because you get what you get, which was good. Then there's this ending tag that I wished had been in the mid-credits or end credits because it is so tonally jarring. It's very different from, it ruins that like beautiful tragic ending with like nonsense with these track-suited people in blonde wigs acting ridiculous. And this movie but that's to set up this movie. And so unfortunately, this movie is basically, let's take those really irritating characters from the very end and make a whole movie with them. So they're awful. Also, like, I don't know who Jimmy Savile is because I am not British. So that whole thing was lost on me. I had to look him up. He was a music presenter, television presenter, and everything, and he was this big, famous celebrity, and then after he died, they discovered that he was actually this horrible sex predator. So that's like this extra level of satire that this movie's going for that's lost on anyone who's not British, I guess. But the problem is that they're all horrible people, and their leader is just evil, and he runs around killing not just the infected, but also just regular people, because that's what he feels is his job. So, like, those scenes are horrible, and I don't enjoy them. I did not want to see this. This is not what I came here for. Like, I get it. The whole, who's the real monster trope, it's a standard in zombie cinema, but they're not doing anything new with it. So I was like, I don't want to watch a movie of this. And then that intercuts with Ralph Fiennes, who is terrific and wonderful, but I don't want to watch a movie just about his character because he's dealing with the alpha, and he's also exploring the virus and trying to see if he can figure out if it can be cured or managed. And I'm like, no. I hate when movies are like, let's try to stop the natural disaster or the infection or whatever. It's like, no, you survive it. That's what the movie's supposed to be about. I don't want to see people trying to fix it. It's like in horror movies when they're like, let's try to understand the haunting. It's like, no, just be scary. If you try to explain it, it lessens it. So I'm like, I don't want you to try to cure the virus because then it becomes another thing, and that's not what I want to see. So basically you're intercutting between two stories, one that's just awful, and then one that's like not great, and they come together. And I will say that there is one absolutely amazing scene at the climax of the film where Ralph Fiennes does this whole number. It's amazing. I don't know if it's necessarily worth sitting through the whole movie to see that, but when it's on streaming, okay, because it is really amazing. And like there's some ideas in here, but they don't develop them. It was very, like, not good. I was disappointed. And then, of course, there is another tag that, again, is not in the mid-credits or at the end of the credits. It's just the epilogue to the movie. But this one is not as tonally jarring and sets up another movie, if this series continues, which I'm sure it will. And this next movie, I think I would be more interested in seeing, because this next movie could potentially be better. But this one, I think this was a dud for me. Sorry. And I kind of feel like they should have maybe not made the 28 Years Later series. And the first one was fine. The first one I actually like. but like it seems to be like going off the rails. I don't know if they can write it. I don't know. We'll see. And then as for games, obviously, you know I'm going to talk about the new Animal Crossing update. 3.0 update dropped this last week. It actually dropped a day early. Although apparently, if you had a Switch 2, you couldn't get the Switch 2 update until the 15th. But it all dropped on the 14th, and you could do everything. You know, all the new features added to the game a day early. So that was unexpected. And unfortunately, like most of them, like I said this when they announced the update, and I talked about the features of the update. I'm not super into any of the features of this update, really. Because like there's the whole like Dream Island thing where now instead of just like sharing your island and visiting other islands in Dreams, you can actually have a blank canvas island that you can go multiplayer with some friends and like develop it as you see fit. And since I'm not really into the whole decorating thing, it doesn't really appeal to me. If I want to decorate my island, if I want to have a certain feature on my island, I'll put that on my own island. If I make a really cool dream island, what does that do for me? Like, it just sits there. I can't, I have to go there specifically. I want it on my island if it's really cool. Although I guess it could be a way to like test things, to test the design and see if it looks cool, and then if you really like it, you could then build it on your island. I don't know. And then there's Rossetti, who has his reset service, which again, I'm just like, for those people who like to, build things and then demolish it and then build something else, that would be really helpful because it does save you the step of having to go around and like pick up every single piece of furniture and pick up all the tiles and pick up everything that you've laid down. You can just select an area and Rossetti will go and it all goes in your storage. And then you have a free canvas to build something else. So if you're one of those people, that actually would be a very helpful service. It's a little pricey, 60,000 bells for a day, but whatever. I have millions in the bank, so if I was one of those people, I would have millions and it would be fine. But the main upgrade is the hotel, which I don't know why anyone would build a resort hotel on a tropical island getaway in the middle of winter, but there you go. And like I said before, this is basically like a spin on the Happy Home Paradise DLC, where you are tasked with designing the rooms in the hotel. So you do the first room and it's a tropical theme and whatever, you put out the rattan furniture and stuff. And then as soon as that is done, someone comes to say, I'd like to stay in this hotel. But what I discovered that was kind of cool is like the next day, walking around, picking weeds, digging fossils, talking to people, doing my thing, and there's Bam. And I'm like, Bam! I haven't seen him since a few villages ago. And he's like, hey, I'm staying at the hotel. I was just checking out your island. It's a great place. Love it. And I was like, that's cool. Because the campers at the campsite, when they show up camping, they stay in the tent the whole time. So I kind of like that the hotel guests wander the island. And that's kind of cool. Especially because the following day, I'm walking around and I see Vesta sitting under a tree. And I'm like, what? And I go and I talk to her and she's like, hey Chris, it's me, Vesta. Remember, I used to live here. I was hoping I'd run into you. I'm staying at the hotel. I thought I'd come back for a visit. And I was like, now that is delightful. So I look forward to seeing more of my previous residents showing up, visiting for a day. That'll be delightful. But as for the decorating, I'm just sort of like, I have decorated a second room, but it's like, meh. Like, I'm not into the decorating side of these things, so I'm just like, that's why I didn't buy the DLC for a long time, and then I still haven't finished it. But since it's like right there, and I don't have to like fly to another island to do the decorating, I might do more here, I don't know. Also, if I can get more guests who will be wandering around, that'll be more fun, so that's kind of an incentive to like do more rooms, I guess. The other thing that I have not done is outside of the hotel is a little box, and Nook has this idea that he's going to advertise how awesome Xanadu, my island, is by showcasing what we do best, which is apparently DIY crafting. So every day you can go and there's a little sign and it'll say, hey, craft this many of this and that many of that, and you can craft those items and put them in the box, and you get rewarded with tickets, and then Captain will like sail them off to sell somewhere and like promote the island. And I'm like, so I'm slave labor for your weird, smuggling business. I don't know what's going on. But the thing is it's like with the DLC, that you decorate rooms and you craft these items, you get these souvenir tickets that you can use to buy souvenirs. The problem is the souvenirs are just like, hotel-themed merchandise. And I'm like, it's not that interesting. So I'm not really incentivized to do any of this, but whatever. I should probably get some of that Lego furniture, though. That means I gotta pick a room in my house to demolish and build as a Lego room. Then moving on to... so I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing this week, a little extra because of the new update. But I did manage to play some Disney Dreamlight Valley because I'm trying to do this, floating winter festival thing with the little puzzles and stuff. And I finally figured out what to feed the little winter festive rabbit. And I fed him the right hot cocos, and I got this reward of like a winter cap that actually goes in the outfit, so I'm still wearing it. Then I finally managed to... It took a few days because the festive cocoa beans don't spawn as quickly. It took a little while, but I eventually crafted enough hot cocoa of the different flavors to reactivate the chocolate fountain, which then I was rewarded with my own chocolate fountain. Now I'm working on the streetlight puzzle. There's a bunch of broken streetlights of different colors, yellow, red, blue, green, and you need to install a shiny gem of that matching color in order to fix it. And unfortunately, I cannot find any shiny aquamarines ever. It's pissing me off. So yeah, that's really annoying. So I'm still struggling. I've got like a couple left. Hopefully I can find them before the event ends. There's still one more puzzle yet to unlock, so I do have time. But it's just frustrating running around mining, and not getting anywhere. And I tried sapphires, but apparently they're the wrong shade of blue. They're too dark, I guess. They don't work. So it has to be the aquamarines. Womp womp. Although I haven't tried diamonds. Maybe diamonds are a light enough blue that it might work. I could try that. We'll see. In Infinity Nikki, I have been spending all my time attempting to raise the baby behemoth. He's adorable. It's still very complicated, although there was one little bit where when I thought that it was, you could only do a little bit every day, I went off to do some exploring, and then I found this glowing thing that turned out to be this medallion that opens up a door in the Colosseum, but there's 8 of them, and it took me a couple of days to find all of them and open the door. And then, inside the door was nothing that interesting, except it was one of those tiers, and you're supposed to collect those tiers for something. I don't know what. I've only got a few so far, so eventually I would have had to do that to finish this quest with the tiers, whatever it might be. But then I went back and discovered that you can literally just grind the baby behemoth and just grind your way through it, and you just feed him, make sure he's fed and has energy, and then you do a bunch of daily routines, and then he goes to bed, and then you feed him again, and you do more daily routines, keep his mood up, and you're just trying to balance things. And eventually it'll be like, okay, he's grown some more, another month has passed, and he's growing, and now he's like actually bigger than me. I bought him some fun little goggles, because why not? But I'm not really like paying attention to like make him super strong or make him super smart. Like I kind of have been going like evenly with everything, and I don't know if that's what you're supposed to. I'm just kind of going randomly and being like picking random activities to do to boost his different levels. I don't know. But I do need to like kind of speed it up and punch through a few levels every day, because I do want to try to get that free outfit if I can manage to get these other things done. We'll see. But that's been taking up a bunch of time. I have not had as much gaming time this past week, so I didn't play a whole lot of Star Wars Outlaws. But I did manage to finish another main mission. I was actually checking out a little question mark on the map, and Nyx was like running, and I was following him, and it turned out to be a Nyx treasure. And then nothing I could do anything with now. I have to like use it with something later, I guess. I don't know. But where it was overlooking the Imperial facility that I was meant to go to for the next story mission. So I was like, well, that's convenient. So I rappelled down and snuck my way into the facility, and basically rescued Gadik. The problem is that getting through it, there was one part with a shootout with a bunch of stormtroopers where I did die, and I had to like restart that section, but that was okay. The problem with it was at the end, after the big fight, you escape in your ship. But when you fly up into space, you have this wanted level and the Empire is attacking you and all these TIE fighters are coming at you. And I suck at the space combat. And it was taking forever because I wasn't really destroying them, but they weren't really destroying me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And at one point I tried to just say like, well, maybe I could just land on the planet and clear my wanted level. But then I started to go towards the planet and then it was like, return to game area. And I was like, fuck. So I turned around and I was like, I have to go make dinner. Can you just blow me up already? And finally I blew up, and I was like, because I couldn't just let myself blow up. I had to try. I couldn't just give up. But I was like, just kill me now. And then I like said, fine. And I shut it off. I shut off my PlayStation and I made dinner. And the next day I sat down, I booted up the game. I hit resume. And we were just floating in space. No wanted level, no TIE fighters, nothing. I was like, okay. And so I went and landed on the planet, no problem. And then I like get out of the cockpit and there's Gadik working at a station next to Ung. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, did I miss the whole ending of this? Are we done? And I look in the journal, the quest is done. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, I missed like some kind of whole cinematic dialogue exchange that ended that story and transitions into the next one, I guess. I don't know. I appreciated not having to do the dogfight in space again, but this was just ridiculous. I was like, what? So I actually went on YouTube to watch like a playthrough and to see what I would have missed. But you actually just, it's like a line of dialogue after you get away, and it's like, oh, we got away. Yay. Now let's move on to the next one. And so I'm like, okay. So I did a couple of like stray things on Akiva, just like the main intel things and stuff. None of the like little things. I did some of the major things because I wanted to get, there's like an upgrade to your like, because you can go around and like stealthily knock out like stormtroopers and soldiers and people and whatever. But you can't do that with like droids, and then like there's like battle droids and stuff you can't do that too. But now you can like upgrade. You have like a cattle prod kind of thing. So now you can actually go and knock out. If you can sneak up on a battle droid, you can knock it out with that. So that I was like, that I kind of want. That could actually be helpful. So I was like, I kind of want to go find that part so that I can construct this thing and have that. But then it was like, I'm pretty much done. So I'm like, it's fine. So I leave and I go to Tatooine, where I have to start looking for this guy on Tatooine. I'm sure that I will run into Jabba because, you know, we're doing stuff with the Hutts and it's in between Empire and Jedi. So he's still alive. But I haven't done that yet. I basically just landed on Tatooine and called it a day and haven't been able to play since. So that was like yesterday or whatever, but it's fine. So that is it. I've rambled on way too long, but I did have a lot of Animal Crossing to talk about. So in addition, I don't usually talk about Animal Crossing in addition to the other games, but I am still playing it every single day. So I just don't usually talk about it. So that is it. And I'll see you back here next time. Bye!